In this Nioh 2 build guide, I'm going to be showing you how to play the Explosive Cannoneer, which is a build that uses hand cannons to clear entire missions, including bosses. I'll be showing you where to place your stat skills, all that, including your Guardian Spirit and Soul Cores. This is an endgame build meant for players who are near the end of Nioh 2 or are in NG+, but it can be used by players much earlier in the game as well if you have some of the staple components. The Explosive Cannoneer build is a ranged build that focuses on the use of hand cannons and rifles to surgically destroy enemies from range throughout entire missions without running out of ammo and without having to fire a million times to kill something. One of the advantages of hand cannons is that they not only kill most enemies in a few shots, but they also stagger them, allowing you to get off successive shots more easily. Headshots with the hand cannon with this build can hit for about 20k if you hit them in the weak spot, absolutely devastating human enemies and shredding yokai as well. So the way this build works is that by increasing your untouched ammo to a point where you can fire rounds without having to worry about your ammo count, all you're going to have to worry about is how to boost your damage and maximize your damage with hand cannons and rifles in order to kill things quickly. You can kill most enemies in most missions with one rifle shot. These are your weaker enemies, of course. And then your more challenging enemies, you're going to use 2 or 3 shots with a hand cannon. And in order to get this much untouched ammo, which is going to be hovering around 60%, you're going to get plus 20% from your Guardian Spirit, plus 20% from the set, and plus 20% roughly from accessories, weapon, and armor, which should give you about 60% as I mentioned. During missions, if you run out of ammo, you can stock up at shrines by exchanging Divine Rice at the Kodama Bazaar, and between missions, you can buy ammo from the blacksmith, which is something you should always do. You always want to be topped up before you go into missions. Additionally, by taking the passive Round Carrier and the clan Otomo from the Hidden Tea House, you'll be able to carry an extra 6 shells, giving you a total of 24 shells between your standard and explosive rounds. And this whole thing is further enhanced by using the Frugality passive in the Ninja skill tree, which gives you some ammo back when you kill an enemy by shooting their weak spot. I cannot overstate how important getting Clan Otomo is here. This is going to make it so that you carry so much ammo that you never have to worry about it at all. I don't know if this is a bug or not because it says +1 round, but it gives you +6. So that's just something to know here that in the future this may be patched, but either way, having the additional round is better than gaining the extra damage from the other clan that you could possibly take for this build. One thing that's really remarkable about this build is the speed at which you build up anima. You can nearly fill your entire anima bar with 1 shot, and you will always fill it with 2 shots, meaning that you can spam your yokai abilities fast. You can spam them so fast you usually cannot spam them fast enough. This leads to a nasty rotation of firing a shell and then using a yokai ability and repeating this over and over. And your only real problem becomes which yokai ability to use and how to spend your anima faster. The stats for this build are extremely straightforward. You're going to want stamina, skill, and a little bit of constitution. Stamina is the primary stat with which cannons scale, so you'll max that out for best results. Skill is the second best stat for cannons and is also needed for armor. And Constitution, again, is just needed for the armor requirements of Psychos Yatagarasu's set. So you'll only be needing about 6 points or so for that. So you'll want 99 stamina, 99 skill, and whatever is left to go into courage for further damage scaling, assuming you max this out at level 300. Since this is a cannon build, that's the weapon you're going to be using, but obviously what melee weapon to use is entirely up to you. Axes scale really well off stamina, so they're a natural choice, but it doesn't really matter what you use because you're not going to be meleeing a whole lot. The hand cannon you want for this build is not part of a set, and it's called Tatsuki Cannon. The reason we use this hand cannon is because it comes naturally with hand cannon speed up, allowing you to fire shots more rapidly, which is a must-have in fights with aggressive enemies. When enemies are charging at you, you need to be able to stagger them with rounds and keep them from getting to you, so you need that hand cannon speed up. If you manage to find another hand cannon with this bonus that's, not static, then feel free to use that, but you can craft this one and it will always have this bonus, which is why I chose it. Bonuses you want to look for on your Tatsuki Cannon are untouched ammo, range damage, and any other bonuses that boost damage, such as familiarity bonus or equipment lightness bonus. Untouched ammo is needed to help preserve our ammo count and is probably the priority out of all the things on there. The other ones are pretty self-explanatory. You want to be able to kill things as fast as possible, so anything that boosts damage is good. As far as what other weapons you're going to want, you can use whatever you want for your other melee weapon. However, there are 2 weapons you need because of this set, and these are Ravenwing Rifle, so this is going to be your second ranged weapon, and Hacho Nabutsu is going to be your other melee weapon, because these will help flesh out the set. For armor for this build, we're going to be using Psychos Yatagarasu's set in order to get its bonuses. There really isn't any other set that benefits cannons, so this is your best bet, and the plus 20% untouched ammo is vital to making this a ranged-only build, so you need that, and you'll want to look for untouched ammo on your armor pieces and anything that boosts defense because you'll be in light armor, and sometimes you will have to dodge or roll out of the way to avoid attacks, and you don't want to die in one hit if possible. When it comes to accessories, the only bonus you need on both is untouched ammo, so you can really take anything you want otherwise. I like taking bonuses that just generally make life easier, like enemy sensor or auto-grave recovery, but other good bonuses that are things that reduce damage, or things that increase anima gain in order to spam, your yokai abilities more often. When it comes to samurai skills for this build, you're going to be focused 100% on ranged weapons, so this means you want the focus on the upper left-hand part of the tree. You'll want to max out Matchlock Master and Cannon Master, and pick up Shot Pouch and Round Carrier. Every other samurai skill point you have is going to go into Deadly Eye to further boost your ranged weapon attacks. I still haven't been able to max this out yet, I'm not sure you can, so you can just keep cranking this baby up. When it comes to shifting skills for this build, you'll want the Dragon's Echo and Dragon Vein, which will allow you to build up more anima and helps to spam your yokai abilities. Since you won't be melee attacking whatsoever, if possible, nothing here is overly useful, though Soul Atrophy can make your yokai abilities even more effective, so consider taking that as well. When it comes to ninja skills for this build, there are two that are really important, and these are Concealment, which is a mystic art, and Frugality. Concealment will increase your ranged weapon damage. In my testing, this was by about 15 to 20%, which was quite considerable. And Frugality will help return ammo when you kill an enemy by shooting in its weak spot, so if you headshot a human, you usually will get that ammo back. The Guardian Spirit for this build is no surprise, and that's Yatagarasu. The Guardian Spirit is going to give you untouched ammo plus 20%, which is what we really need. It does imbue fire on your ranged attacks and give you an anima bonus on ranged weapon hits, which is partly why we get so much anima gain. If you're striving for a 100% ranged only build, then this is the best possible Guardian Spirit for you. In terms of soul cores, there's two that I really love for this build, and those are Flying Bolt and Skeleton Warrior. Both of these fully ranked up will give you anima bonus on ranged weapon hit B, which is really good. And Flying Bolt actually helps you even further because it slows enemies 33% of the time when you hit them with ranged attacks, giving you even more time to fire, so you'll definitely want that one. When you combine this with the Yatagarasu Guardian Spirit's anima bonus, you're going to have an insane amount of anima gain when you shoot things with your cannon. When it comes to your third soul core, here you want to slot something that's going to hit like a truck because you want to spend that anima on something that does a lot of damage. Choices I would suggest are Lady Osakabe, Yatsuno Kami, Gyuki, Kasha, Ryomen Sukuna, or Otake Maru. There are really only two clans that benefit this build, and those are Kuroda and Otomo. Kuroda increases your hand cannon damage by 9%, and Otomo increases your carrying capacity by +1, though it currently gives you an extra 6 shells per type, which means you get an extra 12. So of these, I'm obviously going to recommend Otomo, because this is going to make you, make your ammo last longer, and frankly, you cannot have enough ammo with this build. Some final tips: be sure to pick off the weaker enemies with your rifle and save your hand cannon for tougher to kill humans or yokais and bosses. The rifle will still hit exceptionally hard when you hit weak spots, so use that to kill, easy to kill enemies or maybe elite enemies that you can kill in one headshot. You kind of get the hang of this after enough tries, but this helps to maximize your firepower on tougher enemies because you're saving those cannon rounds. You don't need to focus on fire damage for this build because even with the Yatagarasu Guardian Spirit bonus of Imbue Fire, you won't do as much fire damage as you think. You will set enemies on fire from time to time, but it shouldn't be something that you're aiming to do, and it's not particularly important since you generally kill things before fire can do much to them anyway. So long story short, do not worry about fire damage at all. Aggressive enemies are the hardest to fight when using this build, and you'll have to dodge and reposition from time to time, so expect that. However, two ways you can make things easier is if you use the Caltrops Ninjutsu, or if you use the Sloth Talisman. This will slow down enemy movement, allowing you to unload shells into them. You can never have enough slowdown because it just makes things a sitting target, so consider adding this if you're having a tough time. Lastly, things like Carnage Talisman and other buffs that buff attack don't seem to affect ranged weapons, so I wouldn't worry too much about them. Just find your mark and begin opening fire as quickly as possible, aiming for the weak spot if you can. Even yokai generally take more damage when you shoot them in the face, so it's not a bad place to aim. Stay tuned for more Nioh 2 guides, including builds and weapon guides, and be sure to check out our review for our thoughts on the game. I do have an endgame dual swords build coming later this week that absolutely shreds things, so be on the lookout for that. And if you need further help, head over to the Nioh 2 wiki, and don't be afraid to add information that might help others out.